In our morning rounds, the unexpected impact from kids, sports, and head injuries. Nearly 30 million children and teenagers play sports every year. About 170,000 wind up in the ER with concussions. But there's growing concern among pediatric specialists. The so-called concussion crisis may be creating a more serious problem. Jan Crawford is at a high school in Washington with the new warning. Jan, good morning.
Well, good morning. Doctors are starting to sound the alarm bells on what they see as a disturbing trend, unjustified fear of concussions, in part because of hype in the media that's causing a sharp decline in kids participating in sports. And that, they say, is much more harmful to kids long term than a concussion. At this practice field in Maryland, it still looks like lots of boys are playing America's favorite sport.
Linemen stay here, backs and quarterbacks with Coach Matt, the mats.
But a few years ago, Brett Strachan had a waiting list of players hoping to join his program. Now he's barely filling some of his rosters.
Our numbers are down. Some of our competitors are dwindling, so the league is reduced from 7 teams. We're down now to 5 teams.
And just in the last few years?
Yes, literally in the last 4.
Football isn't the only sport taking a hit. From 2008 to 2012, participation in soccer and baseball is down 7%. Basketball is down more than 8%. Experts say one of the main reasons for the decline, fear of concussions, fueled by media coverage of high-profile lawsuits by players taking repeated hits throughout their careers in the NFL. But now a growing number of doctors are saying we've gone too far. Medical science doesn't justify parents' fears about concussions in youth sports. Dr. William Barr is director of neuropsychology at NYU Langone Medical Center.
There's really no good evidence to suggest that a child after a single concussion is at any significant risk for long-term effects.
In fact, doctors say the danger to kids from inactivity is greater than harm from concussions.
If somebody says, I like playing soccer, but my mother and father are worried that I'm going to get a concussion, so therefore I am not going to choose to play soccer, that's a tragedy.
A tragedy?
Yeah.
Why?
There's not medical evidence to support that decision making.
Dr. Mark DeFazio is a child neurologist at the Children's National Medical Center. He and other doctors are emphasizing there's no definitive evidence that a concussion causes long-term damage. And there's no scientific evidence supporting some current recommendations for treating concussions, such as extended periods of rest, often for weeks.
Down, set, hut!
While doctors recommend immediately removing kids from play if they've sustained a concussion, studies indicate long periods of rest, which are increasingly recommended, can actually mimic and prolong concussion symptoms. You're saying that message is not necessarily based on anything.
Right. And it's potentially counterproductive. It's not just that we don't have data to support it, it's that there is some data that actually suggests it may be counterproductive or potentially harmful.
Harmful because it's proven that kids need exercise, not only to head off obesity and heart disease, but for brain development and learning.
What has happened now is that it's gone so far that parents are afraid to have their children participate in these sports.
That's a fear Teresa and Thomas Urban know well. Their 16-year-old daughter, Maddie, was diagnosed with a concussion after a game.
At first, the doctor said 2 weeks off, nothing. No TV, no cell phone, no stimulation, just rest, rest, rest.
But 2 weeks of forced rest became a year, and her symptoms persisted.
A lot of it was like feeling empty, and I was dizzy a lot. I didn't remember a lot of things. A lot of it was just always being tired.
It's horrible to watch your daughter go through that. You don't want them to hurt. You don't want them to be lonely. You don't want them to be sad.
Today, Maddie is back on the soccer field, playing with a different coach and team after a doctor at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia said to heal, she needed to play.
His recommendation was get Maddie out there. She needs to be with the girls. Like they say, take the bubble wrap off, Mom. She needs to get back to her life.
Was it important to you that you play soccer again?
Yeah.
Why was that?
I think growing up, it was just a part of me. It was just hard to have that go.
Now, Maddie's parents are actually suing her old coach, saying that because he kept her in the game, that made her injury so severe. And they're hoping to raise awareness of proper concussion management, and that, these doctors say, is exactly what has to happen. Charlie?
Jan, thanks.